Hey, welcome to a brief kind of tutorial on my keybind settings here. I've had some other DKs ask me what my keybinds were like for Death Knight, so I thought I'd just make a short video. Alright, my main stuff, first of all, I'm using like a Razer Naga mouse. It's like 17 button mouse. It's pretty nifty. You can shift keybind everything, of course. Alright, so first you got, left and right mouse button, makes you run, just like a regular mouse. On the buttons that are right next to the left mouse click, I have Horn of Winter and Path of Frost, and then the shift versions of those are Blood and Unholy Presence. Just so I can switch between those really quick. Alright, and on to the Razer Naga mouse buttons. One is Death Grip, Shift, and one is Death Grip Focus, which I set with T. So Shift and 1 right now would Death Grip that guard if I could. Mouse button 2 is Icy Touch. Hold on, I gotta duel this guy. Come on. It's ridiculous.
I'm out of range. I can't do that. I'm good. That ability isn't ready. Not ready. I can't do that yet. That spell isn't ready yet.
Cloak of Shadow. Vanish.
I can't cast that yet. That spell isn't ready yet.
Gotta finish this video, jeez. Come on, dude.
That ability
BT out of that.
I can't do that yet.
Smoke on.
That ability isn't ready. That's still the Trojan. I can't cast that.
Flew into the air and then died. That's a neat trick. Anyways. Yeah. Anyway, mouse button 1 or 2 and 3 rather are Icy Touch and Plague Strike. Shift and 2 is Necrotic. Shift and 3 is Festering Strike, which reapplies my dots. 4 is like DPS with my Unholy Rune. It's Scourge Strike, and Shift and 4 would be my heal.
I need a target.
Next is 5. I always keep 5 kind of for CC. Same with my mage. It's like it's Cone of Cold, or on my warlock, it's the fire cone there, whatever it's called. That snares a bunch. Alright, now we get into 6 on the mouse is Unholy Frenzy, which is like my DPS buff. Just like on my mage, it's Icy Veins, kind of like a DPS boost. Keep them always kind of the same. Shift and 6 is Gargoyle. I have a macro here for Gargoyle, and since I'm kind of loaded here, I'm going to check to see what it is. It fires my Ruthless Gladiator Badge of Victory at the same time. And Unholy Frenzy is also a macro, so we'll check that out. Unholy Frenzy fires my Vicious Gladiator's Badge of Victory. Which one am I wearing? I'm wearing... I don't know, so one of those macros is kind of obsolete. But whatever, doesn't matter. Alright, now I make a kind of jump here in my mouse button. So like, you get your first 2 rows, 1 to 3, then 4 to 6, and then the shift key binds. Now after that I have Strangulate, which is actually mouse button 11, which I just hit with like right with the crease where my thumb would bend. I just kind of push on that. Shift in that same button will focus Strangulate. Alright, next to that on my bar, you've got Death Coils, which are going to be like mainstay of Unholy PvP F. Nice and easy to hit, just spammable. I keep that like Frostbolt and Shadowbolt and stuff on my Warlock, so I'm used to just kind of using that as like a main damage kind of ability. Alright, underneath F I have my X keybind, which is kind of complicated because it does multiple things. So, what it'll do is if I have no pet currently, it will raise dead. So that's what it means. Cast with no pet, it'll raise dead. cast if I have a pet Dark Transformation, cast if, with a pet, my Cataclysmic Gladiators Dreadnought Gauntlets, which since I'm an engineer, it fires my 480 strength glove enchant. So basically what this this macro does on X is if I have no pet, it'll summon a new one. And if I yeah and if I do have a pet and I have 5 stacks of whatever Death Coil gives me there, whatever it's called, it will actually cast my Dark Transformation. Alright, so on from that, Q and E, I always kind of keep those as defensive moves on my mage. E is Blink. Here it's Icebound Fortitude, which breaks stuns just like Blink does, so it kind of makes sense. Q, I usually keep that for like Fear and Polymorph. Here it's Anti-Magic Zone. It just kind of fits. C, Lichborn. Not only is C Lichborn, but if I keep spamming it, it'll auto cast Death Coils at me, which will heal me. Shift and C is what I'm used to for like AoE abilities, just like Blizzard on my mage and stuff. Helpful to get rogues and stuff out. Shift and F, Anti-Magic Shell. I'm always used to Shift and F as a bubble ability, kind of like I used to have like a macro to sacrifice my Fell Hunt, my Fell, whatever you call it, the tank one there to give me a bubble, or or Ice Barrier. Alright, now on to some crazier things. I also have R, which you can see up here. I keep this bigger button here just so I can see easily what I've stolen from my opponent. Just kind of keeps it handy. Shift R, I can actually Dark Simulacrum my focus target, which is actually really handy. It's handy if I steal something with R, right, on my target, and then I want to cast it on my focus, because this becomes cast on focus if I have an ability. So let's say I get something I want to cast on focus. I can just Shift R and it'll cast it on whoever my focus target is via T, like I said before. Alright, now my pet. My pet control on a DK is fairly complicated. You kind of have to like really get used to controlling your pet. I have the first keybind here is number
I need to target something
8,
first.
which is, is this working? Oh yeah, 8. 8, 8, 8.
I don't have a target.
Alright.
I need a target.
8 on my Naga, Razer Naga mouse is Gnaw. It will gnaw my target, which I'll show you the macro. I should just keep this up really. Now, my gnaw macro, which is my regular gnaw macro, is right here. It will turn pet auto cast off Claw, because I don't want him to waste his energy when I need him to stun people, so it will turn Claw off. Alright, so pet target equals mouse over exists, so I can mouse over somebody and hit 8 and it will gnaw them.
I can't attack that target.
So yeah, that's basically it. That means he'll attack the target, like he'll run towards it and attack it, and then I'll gnaw him if possible, if he has the energy, which he should, because I've turned off Claw first, so he can regain some energy. Spam that a few times, whatever, it'll work. And of course, Shift in that version is focus gnaw. I'm gonna jump down here on my my macros here, because this is right next to 8. It's 9 on my Razer Naga. It's leap. So I have a leap macro. Leap, pet attack, target equals mouse over, whatever. So I can, if I click on this guy, just mouse over him and hit 9 on my Razer Naga, my pet should leap to him, if it's possible. So you can see, since he's got pet attack on, he'll stay there after he leaps. It's not like some macros, you know, I've seen just leap on. He'll leap there and then run right back, which is useless. So I want him to leap there and attack, and then while he's standing there, usually I can get him to stun right after. But it's important that you keep leap and gnaw separate. You don't want your pet trying to gnaw when he leaps, because it just makes a messy macro. You'll have to like spam it a bunch of times. And you don't always want your pet gnawing when you leap. Obviously I've got a focus leap too, so I could peel off a partner, you know, focus macro, and then he can focus leap and then focus gnaw if I need to. Alright, we'll go back here. This is obviously really easy. Mind freeze.
I need a target. I don't
And
have
then
a
shift,
target.
and I use that on my mouse wheel, like pushing down on my mouse wheel is always my interrupt ability.
I don't have a target. I need
And
a
then
target.
shift and
I don't
mouse
have a
wheel
target.
is the same thing. It's focus, mind freeze if I get the ability. Alright, now we skip down to just some weird keybinds that are kind of all over the place. Outbreak. This obviously applies my 2 diseases to a target. I keep that on 12 on my Razor Naga, and that's just to simply, like, it's just another one of those abilities I hit with the crease of my thumb, like where your thumb would normally bend. Just kind of up,
I need
you know,
to target
disease,
something
and then
first.
shift in that is
I need a
pestilence,
target.
which makes a lot of sense because you can just, you know, disease both.
I don't have a
You can
target.
put both diseases on a target,
You need something?
and then instantly pestilence
Go with
to
honor,
pass the
friend.
diseases around to everyone. Alright, my next keybind here is shift, and that's WU, shift W up, like mouse wheel up. So shift and mouse wheel up is actually empower rune weapon, and I hit X there, which fired my trinket, but shift mouse wheel up fires empower rune weapon, which gives me back all my runes, which is when I'm going for a kill. 5-minute cooldown in arena. I have to make sure that I'm actually like trying to get the kill. You know, got gargoyle going. My pet, you know, grown. The guys used a bunch of important cooldowns. I'm going for the kill here. Blood tap. A lot of people like to macro blood tap right to their raise dead, or the raise dead macro, which will you know, grow your pet if you've got the 5 stacks of death coil up. And that's to ensure that if you get the 5 stacks up, you've always got the death rune available to, you know, transform him. I kind of keep it separate, if just in case. Like, I like to have everything on separate cooldowns, just to make sure that, you know, I can fire it when, you know, if the need ever just happens to arise. I'm like, you know, I look down at my rune bar right here, this is magic runes, by the way. I can just go. Like I really need one more death rune right now. I can just shift mouse wheel down, and then I grab my 1 death rune. Alright, so over here, V is just my cape. Shift and V is a cancel blessing of protection, or whatever the paladin thing is that makes me not be able to attack people. Shift and V just cancels that aura. Shift and space bar is an important macro a lot of people overlook, but I like to use that for an AoE ability. So like on my Warlock it was Hellfire, on my Mage it's Arcane Explosion, and on my Death Knight it's Blood Boil. Makes a lot of sense. And Army of the Dead is unbound because I don't really care about that ability whatsoever. Alright, now a lot of people love 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and further. I like to use up to 5, and that's pretty much it. Like I don't know. I try not to keep, you know, get my fingers off the movement keys as much as possible. So I'm not as comfortable with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 is bound to Hellstone whenever I get one from a Warlock, so it's always, you know, really easily accessible for me. I never forget that I've got a Hellstone. 2, Death Pact. It's easy just to, you know, sacrifice my minion, get a ton of health back. If I've got a ton of runic power, then I start spamming C, blow Lichborn, and start healing myself. 3 is always my trinket. It's right above W. I mean, you can't get you can't get really closer to that movement key to blow your trinket. 4 is actually bound. This is just a custom image that I chose. It's bound to cast Death Coil at my pet. So if my pet's getting low in health, I've got a bunch of runic power. If I want, I can just spam that, and it will cast Death Coils at my pet and heal him up. I'll show that macro just in case. Here's some other macros. they're pretty simple, these macros. You know, they're just kind of obvious. Where's the one that looks like a splash? There it is. Slash cast, you know, target equals pet, death coil. And, you know, so it just, 4, just spamming 4 will automatically heal my pet, and 5 it just keeps my bandages. So that's pretty much it. You know, besides, no, there's nothing really up here. This is just, I kind of keep functionality stuff up here. I keep a macro up here for focus target. I'll just show you these. This is just a focus target macro. So if I go into my macros, focus target. This is kind of neat here, actually. Slash focus, and then in brackets, at mouseover.exists or at target.exists. So even if I mouse over my target and hit T, I'll grab a focus target. And let's say my actual target is myself, right? So this is my target, this is my focus. Let's see, stop macro. This is just, you know, a clear focus. If I hit the same button without targeting anyone, I should just, yeah, without targeting anyone, it drops. So that's what the rest of that macro does. So that's a pretty good macro. The other thing I wanted to show is if I set this guy as my focus and I set me as my target, I have a focus swap macro, which is shift and T. There's the macro, stop macro, target equals focus, no exists, no exists, target equals focus, target, last target, focus target, target, last target. So what it basically does is, saying all that jargon, is going to switch me to the focus and my focus to my target. And it works just like that. And like the mouse over focusing target, like a lot of people are like, is it really important? Kind of, because like it's really easy to get into. Like if you've got Gladius or whatever, you can just mouse over, hit T, you know, focus them, get your target, and then throughout the rest of the match, once you're comfortable with it, like it will take a little time. You know, just get used to hitting Shift T really quick and swap, especially in twos. Like, you know, you're always at the ready at that point. On who you're going to focus and who you're going to target. So that's it. See you later. One last thing I forgot to mention on the Razor Naga. Alright, there's 2 other keybinds I forgot that aren't really visible on my bar. My mistake. I have 6 on the Razor Naga. This is kind of actually up, like kind of above and beyond what most people would do. Or not 6, rather, it's 7, the 3rd row down, which I was really not comfortable until, using until now. I kind of avoided 7, 8, and 9 altogether. I was really comfortable using 1 to 6, and then 10, 11, 12. I've kind of forced myself into 7, 8, and 9. So 7, I've got bound to pet move. Some people are like, why? Imagine you get sapped by a rogue. Imagine this guard's a rogue. He's invisible, he saps me. And I know he's getting ready to open on me as soon as he recharges his energy. I get my pet right there. I mean, there's no faster way to either stun the rogue or do whatever I can with, you know, whatever I deem is the next, you know, viable choice to make. But I'll usually do that. If I'm sapped, I'll throw my pet right back here. It's good to have full control of your pet and just get used to, you know, controlling him. Just, you know, throwing him where you want him and calling him back and telling him to attack. You know, without having to click on his bar. Yeah, there's quite a bit I missed here, actually, thinking about it. Shift in 7, that same button we hit to move, throws him into his guard mode, which is huddle on his bar. So he sits there and cowers in fear. So that's kind of a, I figure that it's kind of like a movement ability, so shift and move, you know, puts him into huddle. It kind of makes sense. Alright, now all my pet abilities, this is the same with my mage and my warlock. Number 10 on the Razor Naga mouse is always just, you know, shift and 10 is follow and just 10 is attack. So like anyone I mouse over, obviously there's macros for that to make him just attack. Anyone I mouse over, he'll just charge that and attack. If I shift and hit the same button, he'll follow. So he'll just come right back. Pretty easy. Now, Earlier in the video, I mentioned that I had a macro for Gnaw that turns off pet auto attack. So you can see here on Claw, the auto attack is off, right? Because I've hit the
I need a target.
macro for Gnaw, which automatically turns off Claw, so he's not wasting energy on that. In my macros here, you'll see a Horn of Winter. Cast Horn of Winter, pet auto cast on Claw. So that actually turns his cast back on while using Horn of Winter. And Horn of Winter is always good to use in combat, right? I mean, it's got a 20-second cooldown. It gives you like 9 or 10 runic power. It's really kind of, you know, it's something to really try and focus on getting used to. It's kind of tough, like when you're in the heat of a fight, it shouldn't become priority. But if you find a second, like just a second to you know, to pull off a Horn of Winter, it gives you that little boost in runic power, which won't go away this fast if you're in combat, obviously. But not only that, but it'll turn back on Claw. And even if Horn of Winter's on cooldown, right? See, I'll use Gnaw now. It'll turn it off. Even though it's on cooldown, I hit it and it turned it back on. So even the Horn of Winter doesn't have to be, you know, off cooldown for you to turn Claw back on. So I'll blow it here. Cooldown's activated. Claw is on. I'll hit Gnaw. My Gnaw macro turns off Claw. I'll hit the Horn of Winter, and it turns on Claw again. I accidentally hit Path Frost there too, but you see how it works. So that's basically the stuff I missed. Pet attack on 10, and shift and 10 is pet follow. So you can easily send him to attack, and it's obviously at, you know, target equals mouse over, comma exists. And then shift and 10 is, you know, pet follow. So yeah, message me with anything else you you need, and I think that's pretty much it.